Mo Garlapati is our customer. He's a VxRail and a VxBlock customer, the largest global global flooring and tile manufacturer, the largest out there. So he's going to share his IT journey experience with us today. And then we've also got Rick Thwaites and Rory Charduri, NVIDIA and VMware, respectively. They're going to give us a little bit of perspective as to what they're doing to help make IT journeys more simple and more accessible for folks like you. So we'll start it off. Mo, tell us about yourself and tell folks about Mohawk Industries, please.
Sure. Hey guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon for folks wherever you're located. Nice seeing you everyone here in this VR space.
Pretty cool.
I'm Pramod Garlapati, Director of Global Infrastructure and Core Services at Mohawk Industries. Mohawk Industries is the industry leader in carpet and tile world, and we manufacture various home products like carpet, rugs, tiles, and engineered vinyl plywood, EVP, and all those things. So Mohawk is in several continents and, of course, in several countries across the world. That's what Mohawk is about.
Awesome. So Pramod, as a manufacturer, how are you guys using IT to drive your business? Because I know you guys are doing a lot of neat things there with IT
Sure.
as the differentiator.
Sure. I mean, there's a significant change, guys. I would say transformation in last a decade. Once upon a time, IT used to be a supporter of the business. Of course, we are in manufacturing. All we need is the huge machines to manufacture tile and carpet. So everyone thought like we don't need computer systems. It wasn't supported at that point. But now IT is enabler of business. Almost every equipment hours of our OT equipment is connected to systems in one way or other way. So IT is driving the business now. So that being said, how we are using IT, it's like in several areas. I mean, like call it transportation management system, MES from an SAP perspective. So several areas IT is driving the business these days.
And you guys have you have core and you have an incredibly distributed edge. So what specifically with VxBlock and VxRail, how do you think about your infrastructure and what are you doing and where are you moving towards?
Absolutely. So we have core data centers and we have remote data center locations, which are plants basically. So core data centers are data centers where we run our ERP systems, our critical systems, and of course, one is prod and another is a DR data center. And apart from our prod and DR, we have several data centers across the country. We have identified approximately 20 or 30 of our strategic plants, manufacturing plants, and deployed some local infrastructure there, run some critical services.
Why do you need to do that? Why do they have to be local?
Okay, so it's this way, right? So you can run everything from central. But one thing is, what would happen if there is a link that severs between the WAN link that goes down between my data center and the remote location? And number two is, it's like all like the same basket. For some reason, I mean, this is IT, something can go wrong at any point of time. So if my data center goes down, all my manufacturing plants should go down at that point if I'm relying only on one data center. So what we try to do is absolutely bad, not a good scenario. So what we try to do is we try to take the critical functions of the plant and keep it at the edge so that the plant will have its own infrastructure to run even if the WAN goes down or the core data center is having some issues. I mean, I'm not saying we could run for days, but it would give us a breathing room of a couple of hours while we work on the core data center issues. So this way, we will keep the manufacturing up and running, keep going while we sort out our issues.
And Pramod, you were telling me the other day that you're partnering with Dell Technologies at the edge. You've got some strategic data centers in a box. What does that look like?
So data center, I mean, like our edge locations have a VxRail, a small Isilon F200 cluster, 3 nodes, all flash, and a small data domain unit. Of course, VxRail, we buy them always with the Dell switches. So that's our data center in a box at the edge. I mean, like we have 3 different configurations, small, medium, and large, based on the data, based on the plant size. We ship either one of those packages to data centers and deploy them there.
Yep.
And they would
Great.
replicate back to our core data center for DR purpose and other purposes.
That's fantastic. And folks, Pramod's going to be here for side conversations. We'll have him out at the lounge. So anything that you want to ask, come up afterwards, just to get you out there sooner, so that you can really take advantage of what VR, where VR shines. I'm going to ask Pramod to please hold that thought, and we will now move over to NVIDIA, because, and as I do this, not so finessed segue, but Pramod, I imagine AI ML is something that you'd want to explore in manufacturing, yes?
Absolutely.
Where are you on that journey?
I mean, AI ML, I mean, just, I mean, manufacturing industry, we would want to know the trends. What product is being sold faster and how much it's being done, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like in that kind of, it's more an analytics world. So AI ML is being considered firstly in that areas where we can get insights into our data and make more, advised decisions.
Right. And all that makes sense, but I imagine it's early for you because we talked about that, but it's early for you probably because it's not as easy as you'd like it to be yet. Is that fair?
Absolutely. So manufacturing industries like Mohawk manufactures so many products. We manufacture carpets, rugs, tiles, so many products. So getting a system to understand every bit of it, what we do, is an extremely hard job. It's a complicated exercise, I would say. So that's why it takes us more time than any other industry to adapt AI or ML.
Okay, well, fantastic. I think it's going to be easier for you in the future, but I can make an introduction to somebody who is sitting on my right.
Hi there.
I don't think story that Pramod is telling is new.
No,
you guys
not at all.
have been hearing that in the market. And what are
Yeah.
you guys doing to help make it easier for customers like Pramod to adopt AI/ML?
Yeah, and if I take a step back a little bit,
Please.
the whole reason we're sort of here trying to understand how we can apply intelligence, get intelligence out of data, let's call it that, is because we finally have access to the data and we have the compute resources to be able to do the analytics. Now we need to all work out, which workflows within our companies are going to bring the biggest benefit. Okay, so that's the first step, and then, as many of you guys may have already tried, implementing data analytics and AI, it's not necessarily an easy thing to do. All of a sudden you're having to implement infrastructure, software, and the people who understand that aren't necessarily always the IT people. It's sometimes just the data analytics people who understand what they're trying to achieve. So one of the first challenges that we try to bring is getting a better understanding of AI within companies. And one of the areas that we do help is that through Dell, we can offer so-called DLI courses, which are like from the ground up, get people going on specifics so that people can gain experience. But I guess what most people are here to understand is, what can NVIDIA bring to the table as far as infrastructure along with Dell? And that's where we have our NVIDIA certified platforms, which are Dell-powered platforms, VxRail, they're all in there, which adds a combination of Dell and NVIDIA. NVIDIA accelerators, we call them GPUs, but there are other accelerators on the market. But actually, one of the key things is the NVIDIA software stack. And NVIDIA is a very vertically oriented company, and manufacturing is the topic here today. But we have specialists covering many different areas: automotive, healthcare, financial services. But for manufacturing, we have various software solutions. The key one, I think, for today is something called NVIDIA AI for Enterprise, which is actually a full integration into VMware with Tanzu, which allows people to deploy, manage, and scale out AI resources across their existing environment, so their existing infrastructure, which is really great because a lot of people are finding that they'll fire up a quick test on the cloud, or maybe they'll shove some poor soul with a workstation or a high-end PC into a cupboard with no windows and say get on with it and just do a little test. But when you want to actually put something into production, you really need to be able to build that on an accelerated infrastructure that you are already managing. And so our NVIDIA AI for Enterprise enables that to happen. So that's a real key thing, because in that space we have development platforms, so partners, software partners of both Dell and NVIDIA can create more focused end solutions by vertical. So in manufacturing, it could be, probably not in your case, Pramod, but a camera looking at welding in an automotive plant that can assess through X-ray vision, whether that weld is good or not in real time. So those need specific partnerships, and we have a wide range of partners, as does Dell, and we work closely with them to bring those point solutions to customers. So the combination of all those things, the accelerators, the software stack, the training, etc., that's sort of how we drive the business forward.
That's fantastic. And so I noticed you've got a green shirt. Any significance to that?
Same reason, the green carpet, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's NVIDIA green for anybody who is looking around wondering why they're so green.
So Rick's got a bunch of subject matter experts here as well at the lounge, and there's a dedicated NVIDIA section in the lounge. So if you've got further questions or you want to learn more, please find Rick and his other folks out there. That's fantastic. Yeah. Really cool stuff, Rick. And I think, some of the stuff that manufacturing's that's going on at Mohawk could benefit. I imagine, if a piece of carpet came off and it was automatically tagged so it knew where it needed to be laid down against another piece of carpet so that visually you couldn't see any differences in the specification, that might be super beneficial.
Exactly.
Hey, Pramod, now at your other company before this, I think you were getting a little bit more into containers. But where do you guys sit on your container journey right now?
Right now, we are exploring our options in Kubernetes or containerization, David. We are not there yet fully. We are doing some POCs with Tanzu and OpenShift from Red Hat, but we are not. We haven't made any significant progress into containers.
Okay, cool. Well, I
just one thing, also, if I may, if you're doing POCs, it's good to know that all around the world we have POC centers. There's 4 in EMEA, run on Dell PowerEdge, and it has the software that I was talking about ready to go, including NVIDIA and Dell support. So it's free of charge, guys. So that's really cool, and it's in addition to, for example, the solution centers that I'll have dotted around the world, which are really great too, with a lot of good experienced teams.
Yeah, I would like to add a small point, David, from an automation, AI ML perspective. So interesting point you mentioned there, just like, if a piece of metal is not being cut properly or identified, we already do something in a few of our sophisticated plans, that one, but I'd like to hear more about what NVIDIA can offer us and take it to business if they want to leverage any of it.
Yeah, cool. Sure. Well, this is this is the place to have those conversations. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick, before we break for that, with the Kubernetes, and you mentioned Tanzu, I was hoping, Rory, you could talk a little bit more about what VMware is doing as, at making it easier for folks to enable or access or with the containers, and how you're integrating that and making it more seamless for experience.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think what both Pramod and Rick have been saying speaks to where we had a vision a couple of years ago in terms of where we thought the market was going to go. And I'm just delighted to hear that, that big bet is paying off. We think that there's room in the market for both, for all of these technologies. Let's face it, we've all been in IT a while. Nothing ever goes away. You have to take care of it while the new stuff comes along. So we think that for a foreseeable future, 5, 10, 15 years, who knows, people are going to run VMs alongside containers. So it's not one or the other, it's both. Therefore, what we did was we engineered our platforms both on premises with things like VxRail, but also our cloud offerings that we bring to market through you, and worked in partnership with companies like NVIDIA so that our customers have that choice. You have the choice to take your workloads, run them on premises, run them at the edge increasingly, and promote a really strong case for why that's so important and increasingly important across numerous industries, manufacturing, financial services, loads of them are seeing that. So, at the risk of jumping on the bandwagon of everything you guys have said, what we're focused on is giving you the choice. You want to test Kubernetes. Believe me, you are in a minority of 100%. Everybody's trying to do that, right? People want to get their arms around this, but the critical piece, and this is where VMware's vision comes in, the critical piece is don't create new silos. We have spent years breaking down the silos of the server team and the storage team and the backup team, never talking to each other except on a Friday down the pub in the UK. That's my experience. What you don't want to do is create your private cloud, modernize your data center and have your integrated data center team only to invent new silos of public cloud number 1, edge number 2, AI team, etc. You've got to upskill across the board, and we help with that. We simplify the complexity. We abstract in exactly the same way that a hypervisor abstracted the complexity from servers and operating systems, abstracting clouds, be that private cloud on premises, be that edge cloud, be that traditional public cloud. So bringing the experience of Kubernetes so that you're running a Kubernetes controlled, Kubernetes orchestrated container environment from vCenter, something that your operations staff know, familiar with, and therefore the level of additional knowledge required, level of training required is much less than if you start out a bare metal project, building a new team that then doesn't integrate with your old team. Can't stress this enough. Projects fail not because of technology. Projects fail because of humans, communication, vision, and objectives not being set correctly. Whatever we can do to make the tech easy and therefore enable the other pieces to work better, we are trying to do. Long answer to a short question, Dave.
Well, that would,
I think Pramod and Rick just set me up beautifully there.
That's
You're
fantastic.
You're welcome.
This has been fantastic, and we're going to get you situated to talk more with the folks out in the lounge area. So, folks, let's give them a bunch of emojis. Thank you very much. They're going to be available shortly.